Welcome to FUNKHEAD. These are the guidelines. I could say rules, but I don't particularly like rules, and I'm sure that you have enough of those in your life too. So let's say guidelines. Now, I'm just going to have a look at my computer here whilst I'm talking to you so that I get them. Now, there are 10 of them. I know it seems a lot, but you'll get it. You'll get it. And the idea is that these are important for you to start embedding in your life. They're not just for this program, because they're important. They're important in the way that you move through life. First one, most important, no comparison with others. Now, who's suffered from comparisonitis in the past? You know, they're doing really well and I'm not doing so well. I can see it on their Facebook page or on Instagram, or they tell me about these wonderful things that are happening to them. And that's just not happening for me. Don't do it. You've got to let go of the comparison. What they're showing you is a snapshot of what's going on for them in that moment. And it might be great, but it's not all the time. Like, it might be that they have a really good life. And that is fantastic. But if you're comparing yourself to them, you will always feel like you're coming off second best. So cut the comparison. Cut the comparisons out if you can. It might be that you have to wean yourself slowly out of this. It might be that first you can feel yourself comparing and you're just clocking it. That's the thing to do. So you feel yourself comparing and you go, oh, that's interesting. I'm comparing myself. Don't be judgmental about it. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just be aware that you're comparing yourself and let it rest like that. Eventually that will change, but that will change naturally. So just be aware that you are comparing yourself and let it go. Second, no guilt. Don't feel guilt for stuff. Waste of time, total waste of energy, waste of time. So if you're working towards a goal, however small the steps are, you're still working towards a goal, right? You know, missing deadlines, whatever it is that you might tend to feel guilt about, like comparing yourself to others, let it go. Try and let it go. If you find yourself feeling guilt, notice it. You might hear this coming up a bit. Notice it. Just sit with it. Just wonder about it. I'm feeling guilt about that. That's interesting, isn't it? Okay. And let it go. Just don't think about it anymore. Just, that's it. The moment's passed. Number 3, celebrate your failures. Do you know anyone who's been able to do everything immediately in their lives, or in fact in anything? So you see a small kid, baby, they start to crawl. Okay, they can crawl. Then they get up because it's time for them to learn to walk, and they fall over. Do you think they give up? Do you think they go, well, that didn't work, so I'm going to give up on walking? No, that's a failure, but it's part of the process to get to success. So just allow failure to be part of your life. I make mistakes all the time, failures all over the place. But have I given up yet? No. Here I am, see? Still here, still giving it whatever I can, 100% on FUNKHEAD and as much as I can on everything else in my life. So just let yourself make mistakes. It really is the path to success. And in fact, sometimes I think I've not succeeded yet. And I haven't made enough mistakes either, because you need to get those mistakes on the board, those runs on the board, before you get it right. And you'll know this from a whole variety of different things that you have experienced in your life already. You know that there's a need. Deep down in you, you know there's a need to be a beginner at some stage. It's okay to be a beginner, and beginners make mistakes. They fail, and that's good. So actually, one of the things that I do from time to time in FUNKHEAD when I'm running it live is to get people to go away one week and collect failures and then come back and tell us all about it the following week. So I suggest that this might be something that you can do. And if you want to tell me about it, I'd be thrilled. I'd love to hear about your wonderful failures. and eventually know that you're going to succeed. What is the end of the line, however, is defeat. So if you say, okay, I've had too many failures, that's it, I'm defeated. That's the end of the story. You won't succeed because you've given up. That's the key. Don't give up. You will fail, but you will stop failing if you give up, but you also won't succeed. So there you go. Keep going. Number 4, no self-judgment. Don't judge. It's like the no guilt thing. In fact, it's like all of it. So if you notice self-judgment coming in, notice it. Oh, that's interesting. It's interesting that I'm feeling like that about myself. Oh, I'm telling myself off about that. Wow, okay. That's interesting. And just let it be. Just let it, welcome it in. Welcome the thoughts. Be there in that moment as it comes in and just let it. Number 5. If you feel not okay, it's time to replenish your energy. It really is. If you're not okay, it's likely that you haven't eaten, you haven't slept, something. Yeah, there might be stress in your life. There's a whole bunch of stuff. If you sat there for a moment and thought to yourself, actually, I'm really not feeling it great. I'm not feeling it okay even. What's been going on? And it could be that it's something that you can fix. It could be something that you can fix in the moment. It could be that that you haven't had enough sleep. Then think about sleep, but we get to that later. Celebrate and reward yourself for your wins. This is really, really important. If you celebrate and reward yourself for your wins, your brain will become acclimatized to winning. It wants to win. It wants to get there. It wants to continue. It will add motivation and just energy to the things that you're doing. So have a list of little things to reward yourself with. That's really, really important. And have some little ones, like a 2-minute reward, and have an hour reward, and have a lifetime reward, whatever it is. But have a bunch of rewards that you will be giving yourself when you have achieved certain things. Number 7 is your homework each week is to practice the tools. That's important because, like going back to the failure thing, if you don't succeed the first time, you keep on trying. And some of these, so for instance, the PAT tool that I give you in the first week you are actually rewiring your brain. In fact, a lot of the work that we do, you're rewiring your brain. And it's important, if you're rewiring your brain, to understand it's not going to happen like that, most likely. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take you more than once. It's going to take you maybe more than 5 times, 6 times. But every time that tiny step will be working towards the end point. Well, it's actually, there isn't even an end point, is there? It's an ongoing thing. It'll be working towards rewiring as it goes. So keep on practicing, keep on playing with it, keep on having fun with them, because this is about how to rewire, how to reprogram the way you're doing things. And you probably wouldn't be on this program if it weren't for a couple of things that you would like to tweak in your life. Number 8, please give me some feedback and comments. I'd really love them. That makes me look a bit mad, doesn't it? But I'd really like to hear your feedback and comments, because it means that I can create a world-class program if I get feedback on what's working and what's not working so well for you. What could be better? What worked really well? So I want to hear the good things and the things that could have been a bit better. Please give me some comments. Score yourself. Number 9 is score yourself before and after the program. Well, part of that is the measurement. Part of that is the process that I'm taking you through anyway. But it's important for you to understand where you were at the beginning of the program and where you are at the end of the program. And the reason for that is that you go, yeah, it worked. Because if you know that it worked, let me say it this way. Sometimes if you're feeling, think about a time when you had a headache. You had the headache and you felt really terrible while you had the headache. Then the headache went away. Could you recreate the pain? Could you remember, like fully remember what it was like to have that pain? No. And it's the same with emotional things. Quite often we get fear around the emotions that we felt, but we can't actually always conjure them up. We can conjure things up to a certain extent, but what I'm trying to say is if you have a line in the sand that you have said, on a scale of 1 to 10, I feel, 9 as a general anxiety, God forbid, but 9 out of 10 for general anxiety, that's where I am. I'm quite often feeling like close to panic, or, things really upset me and they affect my life and they stop me doing things, for instance. And that's at the beginning of the program, and you have documented that. At the end of the program, when you're a generalized 3 or 4, you might not be able to actually remember that 9. But if you've written it down, you go, wow, okay, yeah, well, if I say so, if that's what I said I was like, I guess that must be. But it's difficult for me to remember it. So that's what I say, beginning and the end, so that you know, so that you have a log, so that you have a record of your progress. Because that's what we're after. Small steps, a process, a program to take you to a place where you have resilience and happiness. And so leading into that, guideline number 10 is have fun. Have fun. Life could actually be fun. At the moment, you might not think that. But I'm telling you that there are things and techniques, there are tricks, there are FUNKHEAD t-shirt says, life hacks and study skills. There are hacks for us to use in our lives to make it rewarding, to make it fun, to really embrace it. Life isn't meant to be white-knuckled. Life is meant to be something that's open and flows. It isn't always like that. It isn't always, in the happiest person's life, it isn't always like that. But if you know how to pass by those difficult times with grace and an understanding and a kindness to yourself, and a way to get back on track, which is actually resilience, to get back on track, then your life is more fun than it would be if you couldn't do those things. So many blessings to you. Enjoy, and I hope you've enjoyed the guidelines.